Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tanya. I'm 38 years old. I've been with my husband for 20 years and we have two awesome children. They are 15 and 11 and I'm a Virgo, if anyone cares. And I typically make really fun, silly, lighthearted videos with my teenage daughter, but sometimes I do like to make educational videos just based on things that I either am knowledgeable in or have experienced for myself. Today I'm going to be talking about scoliosis. You probably don't know, but June is Scoliosis Awareness Month, and it's a medical condition that a lot of people just kind of look past or don't think of or forget about or are aware of. And so also June is Pride Month, so that's kind of the focus of June usually. But I like to put out there in the universe that it's also Scoliosis Awareness Month. And the reason I'm doing this video is because I have scoliosis. And I was diagnosed when I was 10 years old, and so I've lived with it ever since. If you don't know what scoliosis is, it is a curvature of the spine. So if you have like a normal spine, and scoliosis is where it either curves like a C or it can kind of curve like an S, sort of. In my case, I have the S curve, and we will get into the specifics of that and the details of that and what that means and what that's called, because there's different types. The first thing that I want to talk about, which I think is really important, is that probably just like with anything else, there are myths about it that people tend to believe based on what they've maybe heard people joke about, maybe seen in a cartoon, or maybe, you know, seen in a movie or online or whatever the case is. But there are certain things that are myths and they are not true. So the first myth that I think is probably the most common is poor posture. If you have poor posture, if you constantly sit like this, people say that that will give you scoliosis. The truth is, that will not give you scoliosis. It is not something that you do physically to yourself that will cause you to have scoliosis, because you can either be born with it, which is the most rare, or it will show up in adolescence. That is the most common, and 80% of the people with scoliosis is diagnosed in adolescence. The next myth is that you will get it if you don't drink enough milk, and that is also not true. Another myth, some people think that it only appears in childhood, and that's inaccurate. The most commonly diagnosed is between ages 9 and 12, but adults can also get scoliosis. It's not something that is all that common. It's not something that just comes out of nowhere either. Usually it's the older generation, and it can be adult onset or degenerative scoliosis, which would be like caused by osteoporosis or arthritis. So that would be an older generation that usually gets that. Another myth is that everyone who has it will eventually become deformed. This is not true, although many people who have it, it can get worse and worse every single year, and that's true. But there are also people who have it and it just stays the way it is. It doesn't get worse. It just kind of stays where it's at. The next myth, I'm going to read this to you, is exercise bracing. If you don't know what bracing is, it's when if you're diagnosed as a kid, they might put you in a back brace that you wear. That's bracing. Exercise bracing or any other alternative methods can change or correct the abnormal degree curvature in the spine. And the truth is, None of those things can cure scoliosis because nothing cures scoliosis. There's no cure for it. Bracing, what that would do for if your child has to be put in a brace, or if you were put in a brace, it just kind of slows down the process of the curve getting worse, or maybe they'll have you wear it to maybe lessen pain or something. But I didn't ever wear a brace myself, so I can't really comment too much on that because I'm not too sure. Exercise is something that it doesn't cure your back, and it doesn't stop it from getting worse. It doesn't do anything other than it keeps you limber, just like with anybody else. It'll keep you limber, it'll keep you fit, it'll strengthen your muscles, because the muscles around your back, around all your bones and all that, everything is connected, right? So having stronger muscles can help alleviate some of the problems, but it doesn't cure it. And any other type of whatever alternative methods, chiropractors or whatever it is, nothing cures it. Another myth is, this one's kind of funny to me, I don't know why people ever thought this, but people think that if you carry a heavy backpack for like a lot, that will give you scoliosis. Like if you're in junior high, high school, and you're walking around all day long with your backpack, and you have all your books in your backpack and whatever else, they think that can give you scoliosis, and it won't. It won't give you scoliosis. You don't have to worry about that. That's not going to give you scoliosis. And then the last thing I'm going to say is kind of piggybacking on the heavy backpack thing, is you can't give somebody scoliosis based on you were sitting on their back, or you hit them hard, or you whatever. So like, you can't go horseback riding and give a horse scoliosis by sitting on it. And I'm going to show you a funny clip right here of Shane Dawson. You probably, I don't know if you've ever seen this or not. This was, I don't know if I want to say 6 to 8 years ago, maybe. And he was scared to get on a horse and ride a horse because he was afraid that he was going to give the horse scoliosis. And I know he was joking, because that's what he does. I love Shane. I know he jokes. But I just want to put it out there. You're not going to give a horse scoliosis just by riding it. So here's that clip.
How are you feeling about this?
What if you have the wicker chair experience?
Okay, let's not bring up the wicker chair experience. Long story short, if you guys don't know this, I'm terrified of wicker chairs. There's 4 right there. I'm starting to shut down. Wicker chairs hate me, and every time I sit in them, they break. So you're saying the horse might break?
Could happen.
Oh my god, what if I give him scoliosis? What if he has to wear a little back brace because of me? What if the rest of his little horse life, people are going to be putting magnets on his back?
You're weird.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, they're like big puppies. They're like big puppies who shit like people. They literally shit like people. Look at that shit. That looks like my shit. Hey guy, I'm gonna give you scoliosis.
I'm on a horse.
Here are some facts now, that facts about scoliosis, things that are true. Like I said before, 80% of the scoliosis population it's called idiopathic. I'm sorry, my animals are getting in the blinds as they normally do. 80% are idiopathic, which means that they were diagnosed in adolescence. Idiopathic, all that means is that they do not know the cause of it, because scientists and doctors still don't know why people get scoliosis, other than the fact that there are the small percentage of people that are born with it, and typically they have other medical problems, like spina bifida and things like that, and that does cause scoliosis. But the idiopathic, where you get it in adolescence, they're still unsure. What they believe, for a lot of us, is that we hit a big growth spurt, and we just grew very quickly, and maybe our body got confused and our spine just didn't understand what to do. We shot up so fast that it curved. That's kind of basically what they believe. Scoliosis is also only present in 2 to 3% of the population. So it's pretty rare to have scoliosis, which is probably why a lot of people either never heard of it or they don't understand it or don't quite know what it is. It's also probably why people don't know that June is Scoliosis Awareness Month, which this is why I'm making this video and why they have an awareness month. I think it's important for everybody to know this, because even if you don't have scoliosis yourself, you never know if you'll ever have a loved one that ends up with it. Your future children could end up having it, so you may want to know as much as you can about it. And it is genetic. In my case, I don't know anyone in my family with it. So in my case, I don't know how genetic it really was. It's not always genetic, but if you have it, you can pass it down to your children. Luckily, neither of my kids have it. My daughter's done growing, and so the doctor said that since she's done growing and she's good, her spine is straight, then she's good to go. My son so far has shown no signs of it. He's 11. He's still in that age range though where you never know, he could shoot up. He's still pretty short for a boy, so he could shoot up and get it, but so far he has no signs of it. Thank God, because I can tell you from experience, it's not a fun thing to have. Even if your future children, even if you have it and your kids could get it, even if your kids don't get it, it can also skip a generation too. Another fact is that scoliosis is more common in females. So you're probably going to know more females that have it than males. Me personally, I don't know any men with it. I've never met a guy with scoliosis. I do know girls with it, other girls with it, but I've never met a guy with it. The last fact is 3 basic treatments for scoliosis. These are 3 basic things that they do to help the patient. They first will monitor you with routine checkups and x-rays, but this also kind of depends on how bad your scoliosis is. So if it's not too bad, then that's all they're going to do. They're going to monitor it. You're going to go to routine checkups over however, whatever your doctor says, and give you x-rays to see if it's getting any worse. And that reminds me of something really quick. I just want to say, I am not a doctor, and I don't want you to take my word seriously for everything. I'm just giving you what I know, or what I've seen, or what I've read, and I'm giving you my own experiences as well. So just, if you think you might have it or know someone with it, see your doctor and don't refer to my video. Some things to avoid, or sports to avoid if you have scoliosis. These are things that the specialists just say that you should probably not do, but it also depends on what your own doctor tells you is okay and what's not okay. But these are the basics. Squatting. I've never heard that one personally. I don't completely understand why squatting is a thing, but that's one of them. Lifting weight over your head or lifting heavy weights or objects. This is something that I was told not to lift heavy weights because that puts strain on my back and my muscles, and this then therefore gives me back pain. You should avoid hard landings, such in like cheerleading and gymnastics. Again, this is something that I wasn't told personally. I was never in gymnastics or anything, and this is something that refer to your own doctor for, but that's one of the things they say to try to avoid. They say to avoid long distance running. Running for any period of time for me personally, but running long distance, it can really, really hurt your back. I know from experience, I can't run anymore. It puts me in a lot of pain. And when I was in high school and we had to run the mile, my doctor always gave me a doctor note to get out of running the mile because I just physically couldn't handle my back hurting that bad to run that long. They say to avoid playing football or any other high contact sports. And this is just so that, and again, there could be football players with scoliosis. I mean, I don't know. Maybe their doctor said it's okay for them. Maybe their scoliosis isn't that bad. But for severe scoliosis, or maybe even moderate scoliosis, the getting hit constantly is not going to be good for your back. The last one that I'm going to put on the list here is ballet. They say not to do ballet, and that one again, I don't know why. I was never in ballet. If there's anyone who's curious as to why maybe we can't do certain things, and you think maybe scoliosis just, oh, your spine is kind of curved, what's the big deal, right? Well, the big deal is the spine is what takes up most of your body, and everything that's attached to your spine, all your ligaments and nerves and muscle tissue, and it goes all the way up your neck, and it controls the things in your head, and it controls your legs. And you can get leg pain with scoliosis, you can get numbness, you can get tingling, and you can also get migraines or very bad headaches. So that is the reason why they also want you to avoid certain things, you know, sports or whatever it is, because it's not just your spine is curved, your spine controls everything. So when people say the biggest myth, oh, scoliosis doesn't hurt, my favorite comeback to that is, let me bend your spine in half and see how you feel. But it's not just your spine. Yeah, your bones don't hurt, but everything around your spine can hurt. You get muscle aches, muscle tension, muscle spasms, you get nerve pain, and you can get all kinds of different types of pain. I quite frequently get pinched nerves in my back. It's like it can last anywhere from a day to a week, and it affects me a lot to where I just can barely move. Most of the time, besides my back, the thing that it causes for me personally, not everybody, but for me personally, it causes migraines. And I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the type of scoliosis that somebody has, but just to go into a little bit of a backstory on myself, I have scoliosis. It's idiopathic. And I also have kyphosis. You've probably never heard of that. But kyphosis is where, so scoliosis is bending sideways, like you're bent this way, you know. Kyphosis is if you're, let's say this is your face, okay, and this is your butt, okay. Kyphosis makes your spine bend this way or that way. I'll show you a picture of it, like a graphic of it right here. Okay, so I'm also gonna throw up a graphic right here. And this graphic that you're looking at shows you all the different types of scoliosis. There's, the first one is you have a very healthy spine, it's nice and straight. The next one is called thoracic scoliosis, where the top of your spine is curved. The next one is called lumbar scoliosis, where the bottom of your spine is curved, which I believe to be one of the most common, but I'm not quite sure. After that is it's thoracolumbar scoliosis, and that is where you have the curve in the middle of your back. And the very last one is called combined scoliosis, where the curve goes on the top, back down, around again on the bottom, like an S. That is the kind of scoliosis that I have. I have combined. I have a very large upper curve on the top, and it comes down into an S at the bottom, but the bottom one is smaller. The other thing that I have is, I don't know the term for it, honestly. I'm sorry. And it's something very unique, I guess. I didn't even realize I had this until fairly recently, which is, I would have to say, probably one of the biggest reasons why I have the migraines the way I do, which I don't quote me on that. I'm just taking a guess. But a normal neck has a curve in it. It's your, what's it called? Cervical curve? I don't know. Okay, so I just looked it up so I would know exactly what to tell you. It's the cervical curve. So if you, everybody has that normal curve in their neck. It's like when you're facing this way, it's just a normal curve in your neck. I do not have that. I have curves in my spine. My body got confused and my curve in my neck is gone. I don't have a curve in my neck. And that is called flat neck syndrome. I don't know anyone who has this. If I've met someone who has it, I don't know. It's not something I've ever heard anyone talk about before, so I would like to make that something that people can be aware of in this video because it's so rare and unique, this flat neck syndrome. But my neck, or the spine in my neck is just completely straight up and down. It doesn't really affect too much. I don't have totally normal movement, but you know, you can see I'm wearing a tank top today, and I did that on purpose so I could show you guys what it looks like to have scoliosis. And if I'm just out talking to people in my normal everyday life, maybe most of them probably don't even notice. But when I mention it to people, then they're like, oh yeah, I guess that is like that. So I'm gonna sit completely still. As you can see, this is my normal side. This is what I would look like if I did not have scoliosis. This right here is really, really high up compared to this one. So this is where my curve is. It curves to the left. And so it gives me this little hump here. And this is where I get a lot of my back pain, is up here in this area, because my muscles tend to tense up and get, they get kind of hard, and so that is a major problem area. But since I have the lower back curve too, my lower back will also hurt a lot. And for me personally, the thing that feels the best for that, and this may sound kind of weird, but if I lay flat on my stomach on my bed and I have my my husband pressed down on the upper part of my butt and downwards towards my feet, like he's just stretching the lower part of my back out, it's like heaven. It's like, oh my God, is this what normal people feel like? Because I feel no pain, like not 1 ounce of pain. And I wish I could feel like that every day of my life, honestly. So since we're talking about my own personal scoliosis, I am sometimes still insecure about it a little bit. It's not something that I think about 99.9% of the time. I'm not thinking about it when I'm out and about, if I'm running errands or whatever, but once in a while something might happen where I get a thought in my head or something, and I might feel a little insecure if I'm out in public, but that's pretty rare. I think the only time probably that I feel kind of insecure is if I go to a public swimming pool. But that's just me. Oh, and another thing that I forgot to mention is, so I have this, so that causes me to be crooked up on top. But since I have the lower part too, my hips are slightly uneven. The left side of my ribs are protruding out in the front a little bit more than on the right side. So I'm kind of uneven everywhere. Some people, if they have it mostly on the lower and not on the top, they might have one leg that looks longer than the other. People might lean a certain way. All these different types of things. Every case is different. Every scoliosis patient, it has a different story. This is just my personal story. Also, and I know that a lot of people feel this way, but and I feel this way. It's not just a physical problem. Like, yeah, we have scoliosis. It's not good to have it, and it sucks to have it, and it's painful, and you go to doctor's visits and things like that. But it's also emotional, because you can get down on yourself. It's mental. That all goes together. And the other thing is that what people probably don't realize is that it causes you to have clothing issues. For example, my problem is at the top, so I always have one strap looser than the other. So this is tight up here, this will be loose over here. That's really annoying. So things just don't fit right, or they look too crooked. I can't wear certain styles because it'll look crooked and not look right. The bras just, they don't fit the same as probably on a normal person because all this crazy crookedness. It's just, there's certain things I can't wear because of it, and also things that might be tight, not just up here, but tight here, but kind of loose here. All these different clothing problems. So that's also a big issue that women have. So just, you know, just know that, because that makes us, the clothing thing is probably the one thing that makes me feel the most insecure. The clothing, because that's noticeable. Like that's pretty noticeable. So that's what bothers me. The thing is, I also have anxiety and OCD, so there are certain things that are just going to bother me anyway, scoliosis or not. So that's just me. We all have things wrong with us, but it's not wrong. God gave this to us. God gave me scoliosis and anxiety and OCD, and he gave me a couple other things because that just wasn't enough. I also have ophidiophobia and trypophobia. Ophidiophobia is the phobia of snakes. I've had it my entire life. And then trypophobia, which is the phobia of holes. This is something that has always bothered me. I didn't know it was a thing. It's actually a thing. Trypophobia, afraid of little tiny clusters of holes together. And I have that too. I have a lot of things that God gave me to deal with. So anyway, off topic, we'll get back on topic, scoliosis. Okay, so the last thing about me, I'm just gonna quickly throw up two pictures here for you. The first picture is a picture of me from behind so that you can actually see a different side of me and how bad the curve is, how bad my shoulder lifts up. So I'm gonna put that here. Okay, and then the next picture I'm gonna throw up is, this is an x-ray that was done of my back 20 years ago. And so I was 19 years old when I had this x-ray, and my curve wasn't as bad then as it is now, because it has progressively gotten worse and worse over the years. I think I was around a 37-degree curve. They do it in degrees. So my top curve was around 37 degrees curved, and my last x-ray that I have had maybe 8 years ago, I don't know. And at that point it was around like 44 degrees, so went up quite a bit. And since it's even been, 8 years now, it's probably gone up even more, so I'm probably due for an x-ray. But yeah, so anyway, here's my x-ray picture. So yeah, mine is the type that changes every year and gets worse and worse. Scoliosis also affects your posture. So this is not saying that posture causes scoliosis. This is saying the scoliosis will affect your posture, and it can lead to your muscles tightening and your muscles becoming tired, which then causes pain. Another thing about posture is people teach you sit up straight, sit up right, sit up like this, because that's what you're supposed to do. But people with scoliosis, like I sit like this. And the reason I do that is because it's comfortable, number one. And also, I'm not supposed to sit up straight. I was told that if I were to try to sit or stand like this, like a normal person for any extended period of time, a minute or more, it's gonna confuse my back. It's gonna confuse the system, and it's not gonna react well. So I can't just sit up straight or stand up straight. I have to sit in my normal stance. And I'm also gonna read this to you really quickly. Scoliosis affects the entire skeletal system, including the spine, ribs, and pelvis. It impacts upon the brain and central nervous system and affects the body's hormonal and digestive systems. It can deplete the body's nutritional resources and damage its major organs, including the heart and lungs. So basically, there are people who have severe scoliosis, and if they don't get it corrected, and the curve gets worse and worse, it's going to crush your organs. It will crush your lungs, and it make it hard for you to breathe, and very rarely, but it does happen, it can cause death. So scoliosis is a very serious diagnosis. It's not like, oh, it's just scoliosis. For some people, it's very debilitating. And like I said, for some people, if they don't get treatment for it, it will eventually hurt the rest of their organs. But that's rare. And in those cases, they give those people surgery. Surgery can also be optional when you're not like severe and to that point. And I was offered surgery when I was 19 and spoke to a surgeon, said I should get it. I got a second opinion from another surgeon, and he told me that it's optional, but he didn't think I should get it because he thought that it wasn't even going to help 50% of my pain. It wouldn't be worth it, so I didn't do it. And then now that I'm older and people ask me, why don't you just get surgery? And I don't want surgery. And most people don't want surgery. They're putting a rod in your back. They're, making you straight, and it's a lot, you're pretty much bedridden, I think, for a while, and you have screws in your back, and later down the line, I've heard horror stories from many, many, many people that it causes them more problems than if they would have just never got the surgery in the first place. So I would rather just deal with what I have rather than get a surgery and then potentially have new issues that I don't understand. So that's the surgery thing. I forgot to throw this picture up there, but I want to throw it real quick. This is a picture of a girl from head to toe, showing from behind everything that it could look like having scoliosis from the back. So here's that picture. I also just wanted to mention for fun some celebrities that have scoliosis too. And they are Sarah Michelle Gellar, Elizabeth Taylor, Kurt Cobain, and Shailene Woodley. They all have scoliosis. So now I'm going to answer your questions. I had people ask me questions about scoliosis and told them I would answer them. So the first question is from Annalie Perez, and she asked, can it be corrected? And I think I kind of went over that already, but yeah, it can't be cured or corrected permanently, like corrected in the sense that you never have to worry about it again. But there are treatments that you can do, and it always depends on just the severity of your curve. So it's a case-by-case basis. For mine, personally, I'm kind of in the severe range, surgical range. Mine will never be fixed. I can't ever really do anything about it. It just gets worse. But it's not really getting worse fast enough to where, hey, they need to take me into surgery tomorrow. A lot of people do physical therapy, chiropractor, massage is the best thing for you. Honestly, if you have scoliosis, you have to keep your muscles loose because they can get tight so easily. So the best thing for you, honestly, is massage. The next one comes from Triumph Ova Struggles, and they asked me, how severe is yours and what's the treatment? So like I said, I haven't had an x-ray in many years, so I don't know how bad the curve has gotten 100%. Like I said, 8 or so years ago, it was around the 44-degree mark on the top. I don't know the bottom curve, it's not as big, but on top it's around 44 8 years ago. So maybe now it could be anywhere between 46 and 48 maybe. I don't really know for sure. but my treatment right now is basically, it doesn't fix, like my treatment is not trying to fix it. My treatment is basically pain management. That's all my treatment is. I go see the doctor every so many months and I get a checkup. And I also do take medicine for pain to help, medicine that helps, like it basically numbs the nerve, so that you don't, I don't know how to describe this really. It's like that your nerves feel numb. You're not numb, but it kind of calms the nerve down a little bit, and it just makes you kind of be able to do things longer than you normally could do them. So maybe you could stand longer if you take this, or you can stand to sit longer if you take this. That's basically what it does. That's my treatment. The next question is from Jalissa Bennett, and she says, do they know in utero, or how soon can you be diagnosed? I don't know this 100%. Like I said, for most cases, it's not discovered until, or doesn't even happen until your adolescence. So in that case, you don't even have it in utero. So you're not going to find anything like that in utero. Now, for the cases where you're born with it, because you have spina bifida or all these different, I think muscular dystrophy, I think is another one. Now, if you're born with those, they probably can, with the technology they have today, they probably can later on in your pregnancy see that, they can see the spine, they can probably see, but don't take my word for that. I don't know 100%, but for the ones that are born with it, they might be able to tell. But, for everyone else, because that's a smaller percentage, for everyone else, it's not even happening in utero, so they're not going to know. They're not going to know you're going to have it either. Colt Orion asked me, how do I deal with leg pains? I do get leg pains, and honestly, leg pains are really rough. Like, they're awful. I sometimes will get them if I'm sitting down for a long time, and sometimes there's nothing I can do to really help it other than pain medicine. Sometimes it makes me feel a lot better just to get up and walk around, because then I'm stretching and I move my body around, so then walking around kind of eases the pain a little bit. If I'm walking or standing too much, obviously then I'll sit down, and then that'll alleviate the pain a little bit. You can take a hot bath. That can help. A lot of the times the pain just comes right back after the bath, but it'll be okay for that moment in time. But yeah, leg pains are the worst. I would say get a leg massage. He also asks, do you ever get weak or exhausted legs? I don't think I've ever gotten like weak legs, but I think my legs do get exhausted faster than other people just because of the condition. So yeah, my legs do get exhausted, and a lot of that is like, we're not supposed to stand or sit for a long period of time. If you have scoliosis, you're not supposed to do that. So like I can't, it's so much harder for me to do certain things with my family. Walking around large zoos or theme parks, or anywhere where you have to walk a lot. My family has to deal with that too, because then I say, can we stop? I need to sit down and rest. That's tough. That's tough on them. They get kind of annoyed, and they don't want to sit down yet. They want to keep going. So yeah, my legs do hurt when my back hurts too. It's the same way for sitting too long, and less for my legs, but for my back. If I'm in a long car ride, if it's over an hour, yeah, it hurts. It hurts to sit a long time in the same position, like a car, or like sitting at a desk, like if you're a secretary, which I did used to be a secretary. So yeah, that's hard. He also asked, the last question, what helps you recharge yourself when you're having a bad physical day? Honestly, whenever I would have a bad physical day, when I worked and I stood on my feet all day, just coming home and sitting down and not moving. I would just sit down and not get up. That would help to ease my back and leg pain. because you have to rest your back. We have to rest our back way more often than the normal person. I know the normal person, their back can hurt, but this is worse. And piggybacking off of that, I have to say, I'm sorry, but if you don't have scoliosis and someone says to you, "Oh yeah, I have scoliosis," please don't say, "Oh yeah, I get, sore backs too, or backaches too." I know you're trying to relate to us in some way, so it's not. I know you're not being like rude or whatever. It's not the same. Having a normal backache is not even close to the same thing as having scoliosis with back pain. A backache is, you were standing long and your muscles ache. Scoliosis backaches is up and down the entire spine and then spread out. And it hurts everywhere. So it's just not the same kind of pain. So just don't say, "Oh, I have backaches too." I can sympathize with you that I'm sorry that your back hurts, because I can relate. I know that sucks, but you can do something and then your backache will go away, and then you maybe won't get another backache for a very long time. But ours is an every single day thing. Mine hurts every single day. The other thing that I do if I'm having a bad physical day is I beg my husband for a back massage. And he most of the time hates doing it, but he will sometimes do it. Sometimes not, sometimes he will, but I thank him for that. This question comes from Christina Castillo. Hey girl. She says, "I have scoliosis too, but what do you struggle with the most?" Honestly, I think the biggest things for me are if I stand too long, if I walk too far, too much without sitting down, or if I sit in the same position for too long. Those are the biggest things that make my back hurt the most. I can walk actually longer than I can stand in one spot. Standing in one spot it's a killer, and it doesn't take but a few minutes for my back to start hurting, and then I have to sit down. Like, I can't stand for very long without it just killing me. And the migraines, actually. The migraines is the other thing that I struggle with a lot. And luckily, my doctor, he said that technically it's not a migraine because I don't have the migraine condition, but they are migraines. They are migraine-like, caused by, the scoliosis in the spine or whatever. So I'm having the exact same effects as a migraine, but I don't have the migraine condition, if that makes sense. So my voice is getting hoarse from talking so long. So yeah, I still get the intense headaches, the sensitivity to light and sound, and the nausea sometimes. So luckily, he gave me migraine medicine to try to see if it works, and it does. It is a lifesaver. It touches my migraines like no medicine ever could. So, praise the Lord for that. This is the very last question that I had that people asked. This one came from Melissa Wells. And she said, "Is this something you only get as a child, or can it form from an injury later as an adult?" Yeah, like I said, most of the time you're diagnosed between ages like 9 and 12. That's, pretty much the growth spurt age. So a lot of the people that you meet that have scoliosis are going to be pretty tall people, a lot of times thinner, but pretty tall people. Like, I'm 5'7", and my doctor told me when I was younger that if I didn't have scoliosis, I probably would have been around 5'9", possibly 5'10". So I would have been super tall, which is so weird because my family on both sides are short, especially my dad's side. They're Native American, and they're all itty bitty teeny tiny, barely 5 foot tall. Anyway, I got off subject. You should always, when you take your kids to their doctor's appointments, every, like, an annual appointment, your doctor should definitely be doing the scoliosis check. And all they do is they have your child bend over and they check their spine that way and make sure the spine is going the proper way. And that's what it's very quick and easy. You can do it at home. Just have your child bend over and take off their, like pull up their shirt or whatever and make sure their spine is completely straight. You can do it at home. If you see any differences, call the doctor. It's pretty simple. And then injury. I believe that if you, this is probably rare, but I think that there is a way from injury that it can cause scoliosis. It's not the injury itself per se, I don't think, but like if you were to break a vertebrae, maybe in a car crash or you're a football player or something, and I don't know all the terms. I'm not a doctor, but there are certain things like maybe if it doesn't heal right, it can cause a curve in that area. So in that aspect, it could probably cause you to have scoliosis from an injury. But 99.99% of the time, that's not going to happen. And as an adult, and you don't get any injuries, most likely you're not going to get scoliosis until maybe later in your elderly years if you start to have osteoporosis or, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, you're not just going to be some 30, 40-year-old person who randomly gets it. Like I've never heard of that. I don't think that happens. So you don't need to worry about that. Hopefully. So that I think is going to conclude the scoliosis video for today. I'm sure I left a whole bunch of stuff out. I have notes in front of me, things I didn't want to forget to say, but I mean, I ramble and I forget things. For me, it's May still, but for you, it's hopefully June 1st, because I want to get this up on June 1st. But Awareness Month is all of June. So I would like to do, you know, a few more videos if I can about this. Not to this aspect where I'm like giving you informational stuff, educational stuff, but maybe something a little different, where I thought about kind of interviewing my family or friends to see, maybe to kind of get their perspective on living with someone with scoliosis or having a friend with scoliosis or something like that, and make it a little bit more entertaining for you, because sorry you had to look at this ugly mug for an hour or however long this video is going to be. So yeah, I thought that would be fun, interviewing some people and getting their perspectives on me having scoliosis. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from this video. If it helps even just one person, if it educates one person, then I'm happy. And I know I don't have a lot of subscribers, so I'm not really giving any information to a large spectrum of people, but I could possibly reach a bunch of people if you share this video. So if you share this with people and they watch it, I know that a lot of people only have attention span of 3 minutes and they only want to watch a 3-minute video. I get it. But I wanted to put as much information as possible out there for you so that you can refer to something. You do have your questions answered to the best of my ability, and just from my perspective and experiences. But yeah, you can please share this video with people so that they can also be aware of Scoliosis Awareness Month. June, our color is green. You can buy Scoliosis Awareness bracelets that are green, and ribbons. They have green ribbons for it, so you can make it known to everybody to please celebrate Scoliosis Awareness Month and spread the word and let people know. Hey guys, sorry, I'm just jumping in and interrupting my own video real quick because I got another question in from one of my very good friends, Kim, and I wanted to answer her question real quick, and then it'll be on with the regular video. Her question is, oh, also really quick, I don't know. what my hair is doing. The whole world needs a haircut. Let's just leave it at that. All right. She asks, what hardships have you experienced as a teenager and adult, and what could have made you more comfortable and life easier? And so my friend, she has a teenage daughter who was just diagnosed also with scoliosis. So I think she has these, questions to, as a mother, to try to help her daughter. I'm sorry, my animals keep always messing with these blinds. So, and I can't even imagine, I have to say, what it would be like to be the parent and your kid has it, because you can't even understand what they go through. I just know that what I went through, and I don't know how my mom dealt with that, or she was just there for me, always there for me. So, hardships. As a teenager, I did experience a lot of back pain, and my main hardships were, I had to say PE, which a lot of people don't like PE anyway, but yeah, that was one of my biggest hardships. My PE teachers never understanding it. They just never seemed to care that my back would hurt more than the normal person. So that was, I think, my biggest thing. What could have made me more comfortable or made my life easier at the time, just more understanding from people. If I said my back hurt, I meant my back hurt. Like, it's not like, oh, my back's kind of sore. It's like my back hurts. I'm in excruciating pain, because that's what scoliosis does. It's an excruciating, it's chronic pain. It's daily. It's, a normal person has aches and pains that go away. They have an injury or a surgery that they heal from, but this never goes away, and it never will go away. You get used to it and you learn to live with it. But I think just more understanding from people could have made my life easier, at least from teachers. I mean, my family and friends were very understanding. More comfortable, allowing me to sit when I say I need to sit down. When I get to the point where I'm like, I need to sit down, I mean I need to sit right this very second. I can't take it anymore. That's me, and I've been known to sit on the floor places where you should not be sitting on the floor, but I do it, and I don't have any shame in that because I need to sit down. As an adult, hardships. Sorry, I have to switch my arm. That's actually one of the hardships. I can't hold things up for very long. That hurts a lot. Now this whole side of me is burning just from holding my phone up for 3 minutes and 47 seconds. That's all it took to make my arm burn. Other hardships. Oh, I'm a mom and I'm a wife. So as an adult, I have guilt for if I slow my family down, if we're somewhere where we have to walk for a long period of time. I'm the one, not the kids, I'm the one who says, can we stop for a minute? Can I sit down for a minute? I need to sit down for a minute. I feel bad about that. And they understand, but I know it's annoying. So that's a hardship. I know my husband, he understands, but he also gets to the point where he's like, we always have to stop. So that really sucks and it makes me feel bad. And what would make me more comfortable now or make my life easier now? Okay, so this is a big one. What would make me more comfortable now is if I got more massages. I can't stress enough how important massage is if you have scoliosis. It's not like a vanity thing. It's not like a, this big rich person that just wants to go get massages and I have the money to throw around to get a massage every day. It's not like that at all. It's, if you have scoliosis, you need massages. You need massages because your back tenses up. So it would make me more comfortable to have a massage every day, all day, every day if I could. But yeah, that would make me more comfortable. But my husband, He doesn't want to give a massage every day, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to give somebody a massage every day either. Make my life easier. I'm saying this because this just happened yesterday. I was cleaning my cat litter boxes, and you know, you squat down and you're bending down over them to scoop them and all that, and then whatever, and it takes a period of time. You're in this weird hunched over position to do that for however long, and when I was done, my back was on fire. It hurt so bad, and I told my husband and kids, I was like, I don't think I can do it anymore. I can't, it hurts. Like, that's one thing in this house that I do that hurts so bad. So it would make my life easier if I didn't have to do the cat boxes anymore. I'm glad for this question, because these are things that people don't think about. Bending over for anything is more difficult. Just typical bending over just to pick something up or whatever. The other thing about that, though, is also that I'm tall. So not to sound funny or anything, but I have a longer way to bend over. So honestly, so since I have a longer way to bend over with the scoliosis, all the constant bending and coming back up hurts. So anytime I'm bending over and getting things out of the dishwasher, that hurts. And when I'm bending over the washer and dryer to get the clothes out, put the clothes in, all the constant bending, I do it because it's my job to do it as a housewife, but you know, it's that can hurt a lot. So it'd be easier if I never had to do that, but obviously, you know, I do it. That's my job. Kim, thank you for your questions. Those are awesome questions. I hope that they helped you, helped answer something for you, helped answer something for your daughter. And so anyway, now back to the regular video. I hope I answered all your questions, and I hope you really enjoyed this. I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you, guys.